KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Hi, good morning. It's Tuesday, October 12th. Kind of a mess on the roads out there. We'll be checking in with Stephen later in the newscast.
And also Justin. But first up, we're going to stick with our normal game plan, which is to talk about some interesting articles. And one of the first ones here, the headline is from USA Today. Fish sticks and fish sandwiches could be harder to come by as U.S.-Canada customs dispute continues.
Yeah, that's right. So that customs dispute at the U.S.-Canada border is threatening America's supply of a key fish used for popular products such as fish sticks, like Mark said, and fast food sandwiches.
Alaskan pollock has a complicated supply chain. After being caught as part of the largest commercial fishery in the U.S., the fish are transported by ship to New Brunswick, Canada, near the border with Maine. They are then loaded onto rail cars for a brief trip down tracks to Canada before being put in trucks and crossing the border into the U.S.
Yeah, so U.S. Customs and Border Protection has alleged that shippers are violating the Jones Act, which requires that goods shipped between U.S. ports be transported on U.S.-owned ships.
So this dispute has left 26 million pounds of fish in cold storage in Canada until a federal court judge issued an injunction late last weekend to let the seafood be shipped into the U.S.
And so we're looking at Gavin Gibbons, a spokesperson for the Virginia-based National Fisheries Institute, said we're talking about feeding and employing Americans right now. He said it was unlikely the fish in cold storage would start moving on Monday because it was a holiday in both countries. Talking
about yesterday. Now, the dispute is happening at a bad time for the seafood industry because the business is currently making preparations for the busy Lenten season. They go on to say, if we can't get the pollock soon, then we'll run out of time and other raw material, causing production lines and people to sit idle. And they say in the end, this is going to wind up affecting things like you getting your filet of fish at places like McDonald's.
McDonald's, yeah, I was just looking at it. I think that's a big one for the kiddos, especially.
So the shortages and the supply chain disruptions continue, and now it's affecting, 26 million pounds of frozen fish.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of people, definitely. Let's look at today's 9 at 9.
San Antonio will be under a flash flood watch by this time tomorrow morning. Forecasters say Hurricane Pamela could slam into the west coast of Mexico as a Category 3 storm this week. Pamela is expected to weaken as it moves across Mexico, but San Antonio and the rest of South Texas could experience flooding by the end of this week.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued an executive order Monday banning any entity in the state from enforcing vaccine mandates, including private employers. Abbott said in a statement the COVID-19 vaccine is safe, effective, and our best defense against the virus, but should be voluntary.
Investigation underway by the National Transportation Safety Board this morning after a plane crashed into a California neighborhood, killing 2 people, including a UPS driver. 3 homes were destroyed and a woman was hurt in the crash.
Many in the town of Coweta, Oklahoma, are still picking up the pieces this morning. The National Weather Service confirms an EF1 tornado ripped through the town late Sunday night. School has been canceled for the rest of the week. The good news, nobody was hurt.
Health officials say COVID cases and hospitalizations are declining in the U.S., including pediatric patients. The FDA is set to review booster data for Moderna Thursday and Johnson & Johnson on Friday, along with the potential for mixing vaccines. Still, officials have no solid timeline for when shots will be available for children under 11.
The autopsy report for Gabby Petito is expected to be released today. The coroner in Wyoming will hold a news conference around 1:30. The FBI says Petito's remains were recovered near where she was last seen with her fiancé, Brian Laundrie. A preliminary autopsy ruled the death a homicide.
Southwest now says it expects to resume a normal flight schedule this week after several days of cancellations. From Saturday to Monday, Southwest had to cancel over 2,500 flights. The airline blaming weather and staffing shortages.
Amazon is updating their work-from-home policy. The company will allow corporate workers to decide when they want to come into the office, instead of requiring them to work in the office at least 3 days of the week. The changes only apply to the corporate workforce.
Sam's Club is expanding its home delivery options to include wine. It'll team up with e-commerce company Drinks to offer its customers direct-to-home wine delivery. The only catch here, Texas is not yet on the list. Sam says they plan to add more states later this year. And that is today's 9 at 9. Well, we happen to share the studio with 2 of the busiest people working at KSAT right now.
Yeah, that's right. Justin's pretty busy. We have some rain this morning, but we're expecting more.
Yes, we do have showers and storms on the radar right now, and we think it is going to get pretty busy as we get into Wednesday night and especially Thursday morning as some tropical moisture moves in. Let's go to the radar first. We'll show you where the rain is, and this has caused some problems on the roadways, as Stephen will tell you here in just a second. But showers continue to move southwest to northeast across the area, and we do have a couple thunderstorms to look at as well. South of San Antonio, nice little batch of rain moving through Floresville. We have seen a couple of lightning strikes with this, but not much. So this is generally just some good downpours. We are starting to see a few more showers show up on the west side of Bexar County. These are pretty light and will continue to move north and east as well. And then a cluster of storms as you get up towards Fredericksburg and just north of Comfort. Quite a few lightning strikes with that, so likely some heavy rain as that is moving northeast as well. Pollen count is in. Mold 600 moderate, ragweed 100, pigweed at 20. Both of those are low. But you can expect mold's going to stay pretty high this week with rain staying in the forecast. And as we look at temperatures, we're in the 70s and 80s. The humidity has increased so much. We started off in the 50s earlier this morning as far as dew points are concerned. And now dew points are well into the 70s. So it is extremely sticky out there. All of this moisture is coming into place. And I do think we're going to have some issues with flooding as we get into, again, tomorrow and especially tomorrow night. Flash flood watches are in effect out west. That starts at 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. Here in San Antonio and along the I-35 corridor, the flash flood watch gets underway 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. And again, the forecast is a fairly wet one today. We'll put the highest rain chances early in the day and then taper them off a little bit this afternoon. 30% shot by 5 o'clock. Temperatures up around 88. Pamela is a hurricane now. Again, it's going to affect our forecast. We're going to dive into that coming up here in just a few minutes. But let's go over to Stephen now because it has been a busy morning on the roadways.
Tuesday traffic just terrible, Justin. We do want to start off with this trans guide at US 90 in Nogalitos. If you've been with us throughout the morning, we are now seeing some good news, though. US 90 at Nogalitos shows that it is running pretty smoothly out there. But again, it was just a sea or river of vehicles out there due to a crash that occurred that led to some big delays. And unfortunately, the problems have not stopped. But let's go ahead and start up here off I-35 northbound at Topperwine. We do have a crash up there, but it looks like the southbound lanes are being impacted right now. Some big delays out there. So be prepared for those slowdowns or find the alternative routes. We do have another crash detected here off 281 northbound at Hildebrand. You can see there in those northbound lanes, it's just a mess right now. Traffic just continuing to slow down. But as you mentioned, those crashes have been clear now. We had a big one there off I-37 northbound right at the I-35 south exit ramp. It has cleared out, but check this out. We do have a pretty big buildup of traffic still out there with traffic moving at 16 miles per hour, backing up almost 4 miles there. So something to be on the lookout for if you're still at home and maybe need to travel up through 35 later this morning. We also do have that good update as you just saw off US 90 at Nogalitos. So it is running pretty smooth there from that crash. It took up a lot of time to clear US 90 eastbound right at 35. The good news is traffic moving at 66 miles per hour. Another crash, though, still detected here off Loop 410 westbound at Babcock Road. As I mentioned, it is a busy morning. It doesn't stop there. We have one more crash to talk about right there, Loop 410 northbound at Ray Ellison Boulevard. So as I mentioned, traffic this Tuesday morning has just been terrible and the problems have not stopped. But of course, here at KSAT, we're going to bring you all those updates on air and online for the very latest. But the good thing is, guys, US 90 at Nogalitos, traffic is moving smoothly through there. It has just been a nightmare earlier.
That is good news. Thank you, Stephen. The top stories we're following today. San Antonio police say one person is dead following the pursuit of a robbery suspect.
This happened around 10 last night near I-35 and Sims. That's on the south side. Now, we're told officers were in pursuit of an aggravated robbery suspect, but the pursuit ended in a crash. The suspect died at the scene. We are waiting on SAPD to provide more information.
New this morning, questions remain following an overnight fire at an abandoned house on the west side. It happened around 1:30 this morning on South Brazos Street and Nancy Place. That's just north of Highway 90.
Firefighters say the home was fully engulfed in flames while the house was abandoned. Neighbors say this is not the first time it's been on fire. Firefighters are still not sure what started it.
And in your morning headlines, do you have that fall feeling? Well, we're talking about giant pumpkins here.
And an update on 3-year-old Christopher Ramirez, the missing Grimes County boy who was miraculously found alive. Max Massey joined us live in the studio. Max, where are we starting?
Good morning, guys. We are starting in California. A crazy situation out of Sacramento. Take a look. Let's see if we can get some of it That in the background, those are homes on fire. It turns out 30 homes dealing with burn damage after a fire sparked at a marina in the Delta area of Sacramento County. The fire started on a Brandon Island. People who live out there say there are at least a dozen mobile homes in the area where the fire was. Several structures either damaged or destroyed by the flames.
We've seen this happen many times with the wind, and well, you can see the evidence right here. Wiped out. It's all gone. Just Lord be with everybody. We lost everything.
It's a devastating situation so many dealing with. A spokesperson for the local fire department over there says the fire has burned at least 40 acres. Right now, only about 30% contained. All right, next up, Portland, Oregon, where if you take a look, this is a hardware store, and it is actually the scene of a crazy crime, something out of a movie. They're out thousands of dollars after two burglars cleaned them out of high-priced items, all caught on surveillance camera. And the ways that the suspect broke into the place, something out of a James Bond movie. So take a look. Early Sunday morning around 1:30 a.m., Pearl Hardware supervisor Drew Stephanie says two people broke into the store. Look at that. They're rappelling down from the ceiling. They stole about $5,500 worth of merchandise. You can see the rope hanging from the skylight. Person shimming their way down at one point, looking directly at the surveillance camera, and then a second person right there. You see him right there. The bright orange hoodie rappelled down, fallen from the rope, crashed into the shelves on the way down.
They were in here for about 30 minutes because it did not trigger our alarms. They basically sold a lot of flashlights, all of our Nest thermometers, a lot of power tools, smaller, compact, big ticket items that would be easy to sell.
After the two got everything loaded up, they attempted to get out through the back door, which actually triggered the alarm. They alerted the owner and the police, but still, the suspects got away. They got away with all that stuff. Now, Drew Stephanie says it's not only the break-in violating, but it is frustrating too. They're getting the roof fixed. That's why the scaffolding was there in the first place. All right, guys, not all the fun stuff. Are you feeling the fall weather? You feeling good? Well, I'll tell you what. You know it's fall when you see these pumpkins. Look at that. They're getting lifted up in a pumpkin. Not something you see every day. This is actually the 48th Safeway World Championship Pumpkin Weigh-Off. Look at that. Held in Half Moon Bay, California. A Washington State grower won this year. Jeff Olmeyer of Olympia, Washington. Get this, guys. He took home the home prize of $19,709, and that's because his pumpkin weighed a whopping 2,191 pounds. A seasoned vet, though. This is not Jeff's first go-around. He won third place in 2017. Last year, the annual contest known as the Super Bowl of pumpkin weigh-offs was held without spectators because of the pandemic.
It's been a long season, but I started the seed in April and was able to pollinate it mid-June, and the pumpkin took off, and this is what I ended up with.
And don't worry, guys, 2,000 mark, it's not that big a deal because Travis last year won the 2020 contest. His pumpkin weighed 2,350 pounds, the heaviest weighed pumpkin in all of North America. All right, now to the story that I know we've been following very closely, the story of 3-year-old Christopher Ramirez. He was missing from last Wednesday to Saturday. He is safe and sound in the arms of his mother, and he now has a badge. So remember, there were search parties, drones, helicopters, deputies drained several ponds. Then on Saturday, a Good Samaritan named Tim found Christopher near FM 1486 north of State Highway 249. And yesterday, dozens of deputies and officers in marked patrol vehicles escorted Ramirez and his family home from the Texas Children's Hospital. That's where he was taken on Saturday after he was found alive.
It's my honor to pin him a badge, junior deputy badge, give him a patch, and I'm sure he'll get a bunch more.
There you go, guys. He's had his own deputy's badge. Now Christopher's mother picked him up, held him in her arms, told him how much she loved him, said finding him safe and sound was definitely a miracle. I can't even imagine. I mean, just a crazy story, but we're all so happy that he was found safe and he is back in his mother's arms.
Oh, he looks good. He's kind of a bit, I think, overwhelmed by everything that's going on around him.
Yes.
He's like, what's the big deal? But he's back.
Yeah, we're glad he's back.
All right, thank you, Max. Good seeing you. Right now, it's 9:12, about 78 degrees. Still ahead on GMSA at 9.
Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide, and October is Mental Health Month. Later, a look at a different kind of therapy for those who can't find relief in a pill.
Plus, with fall festivities in full swing, is it safe to bring the whole family out this year? We have some tips from a doctor.
And welcome back. It's 9:16. We had quite a bit of rain this morning, but expecting heavier rain the next couple of days.
Yeah, and we heard a rumble of thunder or two, but as we were talking about on the earlier newscast, Justin, this is just kind of the appetizer. The entree is still on the way.
You're right, because what we're watching is a hurricane out in the Pacific, and sometimes we can get some of that moisture here in Texas, but rarely does the system kind of move right over top of us. And this is where we run into some problems, and I think we will get some heavy rain, at least in spots. First, let's start with the radar once again, show you that we still do have some showers out there, but it's not as widespread as it was earlier this morning. It was a pretty wet commute. And looking in San Antonio right now, just a couple showers here on the west side. There is a thunderstorm down here in Wilson County. We'll zoom in a little bit closer. And getting some lightning strikes with this. So if you're in Floresville, you're going to get a pretty good downpour here within the next 20 to 30 minutes. And you may hear some rumbles of thunder between Floresville and Poth there along 181. Meantime, back in Bexar County, a couple of showers trying to show up here on the west side. We still have a little bit of drizzle out there, too. It's just generally damp. There is so much moisture moving back in now into the north. Seeing some thunderstorms just east of Fredericksburg and just east of Comfort. This will continue to move towards Blanco County here within the next half hour or so. Yet dew points went from 50s yesterday evening, feeling pretty good, to now they're in the 70s, and it is super sticky out there. Just sort of a precursor of what's to come. The forecast for today, we're going to keep in cloudy skies through noontime and call for a 40% chance of rain with some of those showers around. I think maybe we get a little bit of a break this afternoon. Certainly can't rule out some showers and storms. And by the way, if we get a storm, there could be a couple strong ones mixed in there. So we'll keep an eye on that. By the time we get into tonight, there's potential for some more heavy rain coming in from the west. Here's a look outside. We've got some hazy and damp conditions, 78 degrees at the airport. Dew point is at 75. With southerly winds at 10 miles per hour. 75 Comfort, 77 New Braunfels, 77 Divine, already up to 80 in Pleasanton, 77 in Uvalde, 79 right now in Del Rio. And again, these dew points are just pretty incredible. We've got 70s shoving up here into South Texas and moving north pretty quickly. So this moisture is returning at a rapid rate. And that warm front that is pulling in this warm moisture will continue to move north. We're still getting disturbances coming out of Mexico, and that's resulting in these bouts of showers and storms as well. Then we turn our attention to Pamela, which is now a Category 1 hurricane, by the way, strengthened this morning. That was just updated. Winds are at 80 miles per hour, gusts to 90, and it's moving north at 13 miles per hour. But Pamela will take a turn towards the north and east, and we are expecting landfall sometime tonight, early tomorrow morning there on the west coast of Mexico. Winds could be as high as 105 miles per hour. But it does hold together as a tropical depression, looks like all the way into Texas. And with that little bit of circulation there and a ton of moisture, this is why we're concerned about the threat for some heavy rain. Here's how the futurecast looks. And this is just one of our models. The models are kind of having a hard time dealing with all these components here. But I think that we will get some showers, maybe a couple of storms by this afternoon. And then as we get into tonight, into tomorrow morning, this model doesn't show much. We have some other models that do show some showers and storms coming in out of Mexico. So that'll be something we watch. And during the day tomorrow, we'll start to see more and more activity off to the north and west along a stalled frontal boundary. And then as that moisture is approaching, here we start to get the really heavy rain. And I think that's going to be Wednesday night, especially if you're watching us from the Hill Country, Edwards Plateau, and out west, Del Rio over to Eagle Pass. This starts to spread east Thursday morning. And even early in the day on Thursday, through about midday, I still think we could see some heavy rain even here around San Antonio. So that's why there is, again, a threat for flooding. As far as the risk for severe weather today, I mentioned that there is a marginal risk that does include San Antonio. So if these thunderstorms pop up, they could be a little bit strong here or there. We're not looking for widespread severe weather, though. Now talking about rainfall. All the way through the end of the week, 3 to 5 inches potentially here in the Hill Country. That's sort of the bullseye now. Kerrville, Lakey over to Rock Springs and Bandera, up to 6 inches possible. And then here in San Antonio, maybe 1 to 2 inches. There's the flash flood watch. Starts early tomorrow morning out west. Starts 7 a.m. here in San Antonio tomorrow morning. Basically, it's I-35 points west, where we think the heaviest rain will fall. Here's how it looks in the 7-day forecast. 88 degrees today, 30% chance of rain, but rain chances come up overnight. 50% chance Wednesday, 70% chance of heavy rain Wednesday night into midday Thursday. Clears out Thursday afternoon, and then we'll get a front Friday, turns windy. The weekend looks great, so there's that. 77 to upper 70s both Saturday and Sunday, with lows right around 50 degrees, maybe even into the 40s Sunday morning, guys.
Wow, so we just need to make it through these next couple of days.
That's right.
Thank you, Justin.
Yep.
Right now it's 9:21, about 78 degrees.
October is Mental Health Month, and still ahead on GMSA at 9, some tips that could help your depression without turning to medication. And welcome back. It's 9:24. October is Mental Health Month, and after a year and a half of pandemic stress, awareness is needed now more than ever.
Depression today is the leading cause of disability worldwide, and antidepressants don't work for everyone. Ursula Perry shows us a different type of therapy aimed at those who can't find relief in a pill.
This is what 80-year-old John Herbert does to treat his depression. After 33 years as an airline pilot, a plane crash turned his world upside down.
I lost 54 friends in an aviation accident. Basically flew right over it that night when I was on my way to Lisbon. And the memory just burned in my brain.
He's been on antidepressants for almost 20 years since the crash, but they weren't working as well as he had hoped.
Patients who have been through a combination of antidepressants have failed through the treatment response. TMS comes in.
TMS stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation. The therapy is a magnetic impulse which delivers guided stimulation to the brain to treat depression. Traditional TMS treatments are about 37 minutes long, but a recently FDA-cleared device delivers rapid TMS treatment in only 3 minutes.
In this aspect, they found the same effectiveness of a 35 minutes to a 3 minutes treatment.
Clinical trials have shown 50% of the patients with this treatment-resistant depression reached 50% reduction in symptoms, and a third of the patients achieved complete remission.
You need to do the treatment between 4 and 6 weeks, and the only side effect you may encounter is a mild headache that can be treated with Tylenol. This treatment, though, is not for anyone who has any sorts of metal in their head. TMS is also not for those who have epilepsy or seizures. Ursula Perry, KSAT 12 News.
And time now is 9:26, and there's a lot more ahead on GMSA at 9.
Well, even on a Monday, there's lots of drama in the sports world. An NFL head coach resigns, a Spurs player is cut from the roster, and the latest on the Ben Simmons drama. Could he still become a Spur? That means Max Massey is joining us with a breakdown.
A new poll shows that vaccine hesitancy is still alive in San Antonio. A closer look at the bare facts after the break. And welcome back. It's 9:30. Although COVID vaccination rates have gone up in the past few months, a recent Fairfax poll shows some San Antonio residents are still hesitant to pull up their sleeves.
To break this down a little bit more, we bring in KSAT digital journalist Ferris Sabawi. Good morning, Ferris.
Hey, good morning. How are y'all?
We're doing very well, thank you. So you just published this story on KSAT.com. How did the poll match up to Bexar County's vaccination numbers?
Yeah, Mark, so Fairfax specifically surveys registered voters in Bexar County. And so we were able to survey roughly 600 voters in Bexar County. And because of that, voters tend to be a little bit older, a little bit more educated. And because of that, more likely to get vaccinated. So what we saw in the Fairfax poll was 82% of the people we surveyed said they've been fully vaccinated. In Bexar County, we're seeing a lower rate. It's at 67% as of the state's numbers, and that's talking about the population of 12 or older. So the Fairfax numbers are a little bit higher than Bexar County's numbers, but still, 67% of our population fully vaccinated is an incredible feat, especially considering everything we've gone through in the past few months, in the past year, really.
And still, there were some reasons that they didn't want to be vaccinated. So give some of the reasons for those who were unlikely to be vaccinated.
Yeah, so from along the lines of the people we talked to, the ones who were most unlikely to get vaccinated, I should say, were conservatives and strong Republicans. And those people gave a few different reasons. One was a distrust of vaccines in general. That was one of the most common reasons. Another was fear over the side effects. Obviously, this vaccine was a little bit quick in its development, and some of the people surveyed had concerns about that. And others said that, they had contracted COVID already and that they were relying on their natural immunity to help them, gain protection against this virus. That's not something medical experts agree with. Medical experts say even if you contracted COVID, the best chances to protect yourself against this virus is still to go get the vaccine. And so those were just some of the reasons we saw.
According to the data, Ferris, what kind of consequences are there to the politicization of vaccinations?
Yeah, Mark, this is a huge concern among medical experts really across the country right now. We've talked to medical experts here in Texas and also across the nation. Just consider Scott Gottlieb, the former FDA commissioner under President Trump, recently said on a Sunday morning talk show that he fears that this politicization of vaccinations could lead to lower vaccination rates across the board, not just talking about COVID-19, but think about when you send your kids to school, they got to get shots like the chickenpox, meningitis. There are hepatitis vaccinations that are sometimes required. And if we start seeing those vaccination rates fall from all those other diseases, there's a big concern among public health experts that our immunity against a lot of these viruses will simply diminish. And we could see some of them resurge even potentially. So that is a huge concern among a lot of medical experts right now.
All right, Ferris Sabawi, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
More online at KSAT.com. Back outside with Live Cam. Our team of meteorologists is raising the warning flag, so to speak. We're seeing some red flags, all the ingredients coming together for what could be a really messy couple of days, starting with today.
Yeah, we've already got showers and storms out there. Not a lot of heavy rain so far, but that is going to change as we get into tomorrow night, especially where we're going to get some deep moisture coming in from the Pacific Ocean. Let's first start with the radar. We'll show you where the rain is continuing to move sort of southwest and northeast around the area. We've had a couple of thunderstorms. There have been some small pockets of heavy rain, but not a ton of heavy rain here in San Antonio. We are watching one storm there just to the east of Floresville. That's going to work its way up towards Stockdale. There are some lightning strikes associated with this, so expect some brief heavy rain. Should be to Stockdale within the next, I'd say, 20 minutes or so. And then as we look north, here in DeBary County, a couple of light showers that have shown up across the western half of the county. Those are kind of dying down, but it is overall kind of muggy and damp outside. Another area of thunderstorms making their way towards the Austin area this morning, but moving out of our area. Did bring some heavy rain to Fredericksburg a little bit earlier. A lot of cloud cover out there. Temperatures are warm in the upper 70s, low 80s. Castroville, Stinson checking in at 81. 75 Comfort, 74 right now in Kerrville. Flash flood watches are in effect. Out west, they're going to go into effect tonight, early tomorrow morning, here in San Antonio and along the I-35 corridor. Flash flood watch goes into effect 7 a.m. tomorrow. I think the bulk of the heavy rain, as we mentioned, though, will be tomorrow night into Thursday morning. As for today, 40% chance of rain through about noontime. We'll taper that off to a 30% chance during the afternoon. 88 degrees, your high temperature with mostly cloudy skies. We have much more on this forecast and the threats from that hurricane out in the Pacific coming up here in just a few minutes. But let's get over to Stephen now with an update on those traffic conditions.
Not out of the woods just yet, Justin. Taking a look at 281 at Hildebrand. Traffic is coming to a slowdown there in these northbound lanes, and that is because we do have a crash that was detected right there. This is a shot from 281 at Olmos. This is what is causing that buildup of traffic. It has been a very busy morning out on the roadways. Not a good sign as we get a new day started, though. Here the crash is detected, though, off 281 northbound at Hildebrand Avenue. 281 just has seemed to be the problem spot over the last 2 days. But again, the problems do persist outside that area. We do want to take you down here, though, to some resolution where we saw a slowdown because of a crash off I-35 northbound at US 90. Looks like that is quickly improving, so that's some good news there. But we also have this crash right there off Loop 410 westbound at Babcock, still detected. Not done with the crashes just yet. We have another one right there off Loop 410 northbound at Ray Ellison Boulevard. As I mentioned, it has been a busy busy morning out on the roadways, but as we take a wider look at our map, we do see some of that resolution coming into play now. While we do have a little bit of problem spots out there this morning, nothing like what we were seeing a little bit earlier, so that's some good news as more people are going to be getting out on the roadways later today. But one last look at TransGuide. If you're heading up 281 going on those northbound lanes, just be prepared for slowdowns, traffic moving through that area. But again, you know what to do when you see those flashing lights. Move over or slow down. That is a law. We're going to go head over to Max right now. What's up, Max?
Good morning, Stephen. Well, fall is finally here, and that means hay rides, pumpkin patches, football games. Halloween, we're all back for it. But are they safe to attend this year?
Especially with the surge of the Delta variant these past several months, I think anything we do right now, we have to be cautious and careful because there's now more risk involved in any activity we do around other people than there was just 2 months ago.
Cautious and careful. Dr. Joseph Cabaza, a pulmonologist for the Cleveland Clinic, he says the Delta variant is highly transmissible, which is why he recommends assessing your comfort level and your risk level before you really go anywhere. So if you don't feel comfortable being in big crowds with strangers, probably best just to stay home. However, most fall activities, they tend to be outdoors, beautiful weather out there. If you can space out, you can help limit the spread of this virus. You could also be extra safe. You could wear a mask outside. You could bring hand sanitizer. Another tip, if you're really that worried, check the infection and vaccination rate for the specific area.
And maybe doing more of a smaller type of gathering for the kids with either friends or family members in the community or neighborhood that vaccine status and how they view and take the pandemic from a precaution standpoint. Those become very safe when you're doing that, and where the anxiety and risk associated with doing any of those activities are going to be very, very low.
And it kind of goes back to what Ferris was talking about. Dr. Cabaza says if you haven't gotten vaccinated yet, now is the time, especially since kids under the age of 12 can't get the vaccine just yet. You're not only putting them at risk for the virus, but you could also be spreading it to other people. So guys, I'll be back in just a bit because we're going to be talking about sports.
Well, yeah, you're here, so we're going to run you ragged, Matt.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. I love it.
Go take your 1 minute break.
9:39, about 78 degrees.
We'll be right back.
9:42.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of rain, but we're expecting some more. But at least to me, there's like sunshine at the end of the tunnel there because the weekend looks pretty good.
The weekend looks awesome. It's going to be in the 70s. The sun will be out. It'll be a little breezy, but that's okay. It's going to feel like fall. So the weekend, that's what we can look forward to. If you're hoping for some rain, I think we're going to get some this week. You won't have to turn on your sprinklers anyway. Let's go outside for you and show you that it's still sort of hazy. We've got what looks like a little bit of fog out there, a lot of damp conditions. Moisture has returned very quickly this morning, and it is very sticky. 78 degrees at the airport, 81 Stinson, 79 Kelly, 77 at Randolph. We're carrying a southerly wind at this point, anywhere from 5 to 15 miles per hour. And as we look at the radar, we can see where the showers are now. They're becoming a little more spread out here. We're not seeing as much activity as we were earlier, but there still certainly could be some thunderstorms out there. We're seeing that here around Stockdale. I mentioned that storm working towards Stockdale. It's almost there. And this is producing some pretty heavy rain as it quickly moves east and northeast, just out of Floresville, but trying to work down 181 towards Poth. So you may see some rain there, too, within the next 15 minutes or so. Here around San Antonio and Bexar County, a couple showers up there around Selma and Schertz. Otherwise, pretty light stuff working across the city. And then to the north, we had those thunderstorms earlier moving through the hill country. Those are pretty much moving out. They shifted north of Blanco. So you didn't get any rain there, but certainly there are some more chances on the way as we go out throughout the course of the next couple days. Here's the forecast here in San Antonio. 40% chance around noontime, and then we taper that off to a 30% chance this afternoon. I think we will see some sun. That'll push temperatures up to around 88 degrees, and it stays humid all day long. 78 in New Braunfels, 81 Castroville, 78 in Devine, 81 Cotulla, 79 out in Del Rio. Temperatures are warm. And this map shows the 24-hour dew point change, which was significant. Yesterday afternoon, the air was dry, and then we gained about 18 degrees as far as the dew point is concerned here in San Antonio, even more so as you get out west. And basically, that just means we flipped the switch here and just went from dry air to humid air just like that. And these dew points are impressive for October. We've got dew points in the mid to upper 70s, even close to 80 That is extremely, extremely humid conditions. And there's going to be a ton of moisture over the next couple of days for these disturbances that are moving through in the Pacific system to really tap into. That moisture is surging north throughout all of Texas, and we're seeing some showers as well tracking through as our disturbances roll southwest to northeast. Down in the Pacific, of course, this is what we're waiting on. Hurricane Pamela now. It is a hurricane, Category 1. Winds at 80 miles per hour, gusting to 100. Looks fairly organized as it works its way towards Mexico, and this is going to cause some problems there around Mazatlan as it makes landfall as a Category 2 hurricane. Then it works its way up towards Texas, weakening as it does, but takes all the moisture with it. Notice the track is very close to San Antonio and across the hill country, and that's why we're expecting to get even heavier rain as we get into Wednesday night and Thursday. So here's one of our computer models showing that this afternoon we will see some showers, maybe a few thunderstorms out west. Could see an area of rain move in overnight, move across the area. So that's something we'll have to watch as far as heavy rain is concerned. And then during the day on Wednesday, we'll see some showers and storms focused along a front in the hill country. And then once that tropical moisture starts to move in, look at that, deep moisture, a lot of heavy showers and storms. It works its way through the area through Thursday morning. And this is when we could see that really heavy rain before it starts to move out by midday Thursday. We get some clearing Thursday afternoon for a few more showers on Friday. Rainfall potential right now 3 to 5 inches in the hill country, but those numbers could go up depending on the track of this system. I think we will see some isolated spots up to 6 inches. And here around San Antonio right now 1 to 2 inches. Flash flood watches are in effect basically starting tomorrow morning for I-35 and points west. So keep that in mind. And the extended forecast here, 50% chance of rain tomorrow, 70% chance of rain Wednesday night into Thursday. Front comes through Friday, and here's what Stephanie was mentioning. The weekend, 70s for highs, sunny skies. It will be windy, though, Friday night. Friday night football is going to be windy and cool, but that kind of feels more like football, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fall football.
That's right.
Thanks, Justin.
Got it.
And Tuesdays in the fall are usually calm and quiet for the sports world. So we usually have like a recap of Monday Night Football and the preview for the next series of games and maybe some talk for the preseason of Spurs.
But there's no lack of sports news today. Max Massey joins us back here in the studio. Max, where do we begin?
Guys, this is a whirlwind. I wish we could have talked about Monday Night Football. Lamar Jackson, great 19-point deficit, came back and won. I'm a Carson Wentz guy, so it hurt a little bit. But since we are talking football, we might as well start with the NFL. And the NFL, a league that no longer employs John Gruden. The now former Raiders head coach, John Gruden, resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders after reports of emails that he wrote over a 10-year period, and they're being described as racist, misogynistic, and anti-gay. So the resignation came shortly after the New York Times reported that John Gruden used misogynistic and anti-gay language in numerous emails during a 7-year period. That report came days after a 10-year-old email from Gruden surfaced that included a racist comment about NFL Players Association Executive Director DeMaurice Smith, as well as a vulgar criticism of NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. John Gruden, remember, became the Raiders head coach back in 2018, and remember that contract. 10 years, $100 million. So a lot of questions with how much money is left and who is going to be the next head coach. All right, next up, the wide world of basketball. Never a dull day with this guy, especially if you're a Sixers fan. But this is not just Sixers news. This impacts the Spurs as well. After staying away for 2 weeks for the NBA preseason, Sixers guard Ben Simmons reported to the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia last night, much to the surprise of the Sixers organization. Remember, Ben Simmons and his parties, they've been very open, very, we'll say, aggressive in terms of wanting to leave the city of brotherly love. And the Spurs could actually be a big landing spot. My personal theory, goes back to Philly, he plays, he scores a little bit, gets his trade stock up, still gets traded sooner than later. Could be a Harden situation from last year, but this one could end up right here in San Antonio. And speaking of San Antonio and the Spurs parting ways with their former first-round pick, 6'11" forward Luka Samanic. The team announced the move just 9 days before the start of the regular season. That is October 20th. Shameless plug for GMSA. We're going to be live on the Spurs court. Remember, Luka played 2 seasons for the Spurs. He only averaged 3.8 points, 2.2 rebounds, just under 10 minutes, played about 36 games. The Croatian native, originally selected by the Spurs, 19th pick of the draft. in the 2019 draft. Now, our producer told me we had a little extra 30 seconds, so I want to throw a fun fact at you guys.
Okay, cool.
He was drafted 10 spots earlier than Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson,
Wow.
one of the biggest names on the Spurs around the NBA right now, an Olympian, soon-to-be breakout player. And I think the over-under for the Spurs record right now for wins is set at 29.5. So if they hit 30, it's the over. But I got to say, guys, this is such an exciting team. Young, energetic, could be very defensive. They gave me a one shot again. But very excited. And I want to talk to Mark and Steph again. Here we go. Got to say, they started tweeting out, shout out to the Spurs social media department, they were tweeting out pictures and some of the images of some of the those famous H-E-B commercials. The guys on the scene look like they're just having such a great time. Great chemistry. Could be a great season.
Yeah, I think I saw Derek White, Jakob Poeltl, and was it Keldon Johnson?
It was Keldon.
Yeah.
He had the glasses on.
It's funny because we were just talking about it the other day. Who's going to be in the new crop of H-E-B commercials from the Spurs roster?
We thought Primo.
And now we know.
He looked good in preseason.
Yeah.
Gotta say.
Josh Primo.
For his name as well.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh, Steph ahead of
Primo picks from H-E-B.
Okay.
Shameless plug number 16.
Yeah.
All right, Max. And also, we wish the very best to Luka here in the free agency market.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure someone will pick him up.
Probably so. Thank you very much, Max.
Thanks,
9:51, about 78 degrees.
And if you're planning on going to Wurstfest, we have details on how to get tickets after the break.
Good morning.
Hey guys, how are you?
Coming up on Live, virtual road trip to Nashville.
We'll be joined by Chelsea Handler, plus Brett Young performs. See you soon on Live.
He has put some famous faces in unexpected places. I'm Katrina Weber. I'll have that story tomorrow on Good Morning San Antonio.
Okay, we're going to have flash flood watches going into effect early tomorrow. We are expecting some heavy rain. We'll still see some showers and storms today, but the bulk of the heavy rain comes in tomorrow night into Thursday. Some heavy rain possible. Front slides through on Friday. Great weekend on the way.
It is exciting to welcome back Wurstfest this year.
That's right.
Tickets now on sale.
Yeah, they're going on sale. And this is something that I didn't realize. Remember the fire from 2019. So basically after a hiatus from 2020 due to COVID and because of the fire in 2019, now it's finally back.
Yeah, the Market Plots building burned down, but it is since been rebuilt. The adjacent Wurst Hall building sustained smoke and heat damage, was still considered structurally sound following the fire. So tickets now on sale. Gates will open 4 p.m. on opening day, 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Saturdays and Sundays. This is all starting on November 5th.
Yeah, November 5th through the 14th. And so beer tickets and admission costs are cash only, but ATMs can be found on the site there. Beer tickets sold on Wurstfest grounds are required for alcohol purchases. Now they can also be purchased online, and I think we have a link on our website there at KSAT.com.
It is, you like this part, Justin, Wurstfest, a rain or shine event.
That's right.
There you go.
So it will.
So much fun.
It will go on.
Polka music, man.
That's
Yes,
right.
it's
General
exciting.
admission tickets on sale for $18. General admission tickets at the gate are $20. So go to KSAT.com for more.